City, you're certainly getting your tickets worth this weekend. I'll tell you something, it's our first reset of the season, another best of 7 coming your way, and I hope you're ready for some more Halo Infinite. Starting things off in this grand final reset, we've got CTF Aquarius. This one, arena style, couldn't be more, I think, chock-a-block for both of these teams. They're going to be gunning for this first map. It's very, very important. Optic gets back on the right foot. They're going to have gone away, talked about it, motivated, ready to go out for blood. They know that this second series is it. This is where it begins now for that journey to the trophy. Clutch, looking across this, can they do it?
I think so. I think when you look at this map layout, the first thing that sticks out to me, there's one map with an S7, and the way that the way that StelluR and the rest of SSG kind of took over some of those games with that S7, that bodes well for Optic's opportunity here. I think the Bandits might be a little bit more comfortable just bandit on bandit action, so I'm looking forward to that. You do have a couple of shock rifles, and we know the damage that StelluR and everyone on that team can do, but for Optic Gaming, you're a lot less worried about the power that's on some of these maps compared to what you just had to go through, so it'll tend to bode well, but I do think that this Aqua CTF is going to be extremely important for Optic to get back on their feet, to get a little bit more comfortable. The way that that series ended was traumatic. Like, losing close games is harder than losing games by massive margins. So I think that Optic need to find their rhythm once again there in game 1.
I honestly got to say, for Optic fans, yes, this was difficult to watch. Spacestation Gaming came alive in that first grand finals. But I've got to say, the dream is still very much there for the Green Wall. Optic Gaming, they are very resilient. We've seen them do it time and time again in certain different situations, whether it's going all the way down to that game 5. We're looking right now at the records at SLC, and things have been looking pretty good for Optic Gaming thus far. Spacestation Gaming, though, their stronghold is really where it lies. That stronghold is so powerful for them on set. That's where it gets a little bit scary. But can Optic put them on the chopping block? Can they punish them the way that we saw Spacestation Gaming punish Optic Gaming earlier on? Can they make magic?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and I think Wes has really hit the nail on the head. When you're looking at the series, you're looking at the power on the maps, not as much as we saw in that first series, and especially the first 2 game types. You look at Aquarius capture the flag, you look at some of those records as well, with the comparison of the team. The CTF record for Optic looked really, really strong, and then you go into a Street Slayer where Optic have looked very, very strong as well. So it's a great opportunity for them to just settle down a little bit here, I think, just to play at a little bit more of a pace that they feel they can control, and one player on the opposition team cannot just completely blow them out of the water with one bullet.
Talking about that guy, I got a head-to-head, and he's on that graphic right now versus Lucid. StelluR, Lucid, it's a tale as old as time. These two, an absolute dream when it comes to watching them on your screens, but again, a nightmare if you are going up against them. Both looking really, really good in the grand finals. Just one getting the better, I think, of the other team, to be perfectly honest. And it's when StelluR gets that S7, like you said. Different story, though, now in this grand finals reset. Do you think they have the same type of firepower, when it comes down to the teamwork that Optic Gaming can? They can grind through these first few maps and get a little bit of momentum themselves.
Yeah, I think when they do have momentum, they do have as much teamwork. When they get the ball rolling and everyone starts flying, that's when SSG is the most dangerous. You saw it towards the end of some of those games where interference, for example, SSG started to fly, and it really threw Optic onto their back heels. It was so difficult for Optic to come off spawn and understand where players are coming from. When SSG create that level of chaos, the game is pretty much over. So I'm looking to see how to Optic stop some of that pressure, slow it down to at least get back on your feet and have a standing chance.
Well, you see the fist bumps coming in. It means one thing, folks. Spacestation Gaming versus Optic Gaming Grand Finals reset on Set and Brav.
Well, here we go then, SLC. Let's lock in for our second best of 7. Spacestation Gaming from the elimination bracket win a nail-biter final round of Oddball to send us back to the beginning of a fresh new series. But will we have a fresh winner? Will Optic Gaming be able to get over the line, or will it be a second place finish again? So many stories, so many questions to have answered, and we're starting off here on Aquarius Capture the Flag.
A real test of endurance here this evening. Of course, already one series under their belt, and now we dive deep into our second series. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your first grand final reset of the 2024 season. It's Space Station versus Optic, everything to play for.
Difficult to highlight a player that's been outstanding because everybody on the main stage has had their moments, but this man, you saw in some of the stats, and he's going to be the player that usually is the one for Optic, who can drag them through tight moments with something just a little bit special. Overshield is going to go their way off the rip here, so Optic have early advantage, and they also, smartly, I would say, move over towards the gen side to make sure that green gun isn't off the stand as well.
Nice routes, nice prioritization, and checking of corners coming in for Lucid here as he makes his way towards the back of the base. He knew there'd be pressure, but he is ready for the task. That's 3 dead. StelluR, last player alive here. The gen run begins for Optic Gaming.
StelluR picks up another kill, though. That's going to make it a little bit more of a kind of stutter step run, you would imagine. However, TriPPPeY, in that feed, finds one. Overextension may be coming in here, and you can see that Lucid is just going to double back here. He knows that this isn't going to be a clear run home.
Pauses for just a second, as you say, has to fight from the connector. Very nice angle. The grenade, somehow he stays alive, and the run will continue.
2 dead on the side of SSG. Maybe the timing window has started to open. Lucid's going to slide this one home, and Optic retaliate. From the disappointment of the previous game that we were watching, they will strike first here. It's 1-0, and that is a massive moment mentally for Optic Gaming.
And so beautifully executed by Lucid. How about the fact that he goes to the connector, he pauses for a second, he helps with the top-mid battle on Bound, still challenges somehow, puts himself in a position that's so difficult to nade, he stays alive, and he continues the run. And within just 1 minute 30, they score that first flag. They lead 1-0 as we look for the next overshield.
Pressure still coming in from Optic Gaming as well. It's 2 dead, make it 3 dead momentarily for Spacestation. Optic still putting the pressure on the base. You can see shields being broken in the back of it. Everybody from SSG at the moment is essentially trapped in and around the back of their base. It's only Bound who's trying to extend on the pink side to get out. And as that overshield comes up as well, the map control will evolve into an overshield pickup. The second one in a row for Optic.
Lqgend doing everything he can to peek shoot along with Eco, but guess what? The overshields plus Formal's gun skill is going to equal a lot of kills coming in. They've already cleaned up 2.
Formal's still got a little bit of overshield to play with as well. Bound's trying to chip away at it. Bound slides out to the front of the base as well, but Formal is still being a nuisance. Great play from Bound.
Let's see if this flag goes. We'll talk about that Bound play more, but I think with the 3 dead, this flag should still go for Optic Gaming.
P1, the next piece of attention that needs to be taken care of. And Optic Gaming will take care of that second flag. 2-0. Lucid having a really good start to this game, and I'm talking about his assists. Very standout here. Only died the once. 6 assists to his name, leads the lobby, and now picks up another kill.
Beautifully done. Optic, by the way, not only leading 2-0 on the scoreboard, they're outslaying 23-13. It's an unbelievable opening from them in the Grand Finals reset.
Bound looking to find his reticle onto Formal. Lqgend is there just in time, and now Bound can turn his attention and repay the favor. The teamwork starting to click here. It's 3 dead for Optic Gaming.
That's what I'm talking about. Bound is an absolute nuisance. He will sneak into your low gen. He will avoid every grenade, sneak around the crates, and he will be impossible to take down. It was 3 dead. It's all fridge spawns. Spacestation Gaming bringing the flag home.
This one's going to go home. Nobody is in position whatsoever from Optic Gaming to stop this one. How quick was that run, by the way, from Lqgend? Out the front of the window. Here's the slide into bottom middle. And before Optic Gaming even have a chance to look at where that flag is going up from the respawn screen, we have their advantage halved here. 2-1 in the favor of Optic.
Makes things a little bit more interesting here. Just about 4 minutes of play. Of course, we're also keeping an eye on power-ups very soon, but just about 4 minutes of play and 3 flags total. Optic Gaming still leading, but you get the feeling that Spacestation has a little bit more aggression here.
In the hand go up from Bound. Have to wonder if there's a little bit of an issue. And it looks like that might well be the case. So at 2-1, we will get this game restarted in a few seconds' time. But a very important start to that series, a very important start to our reset here for Optic Gaming. Those 2 flags on the board just settles those nerves a little bit, just puts those bad thoughts to the back of the mind once again instead of the front.
Exactly, and most importantly, of course, that reset, very thankful that it happens with no flags pulled at a neutral point in the game, so you have a pretty even 2-1 restart, presumably, in that game. And Optic Gaming, they were still, at the time of the game ending, they were still outslaying 30-18 very handily. Deadzone, by the way, was 8-4 at that moment. Lucid, 7-4, as well as Formal on the same stat line. So it's a very nice opening from them, but you did get the feeling that Spacestation was not only heating up, but the efficiency, as you talked about, Mark, of that flag run was so fast.
Yeah, it was interesting to kind of dissect the flag runs that we saw, right? The one from SSG was just clinical. It was 3 dead, 4 dead, run the flag bottom middle quickly as possible, deny the players from getting halfway across the map. SSG, that's textbook Halo, right? If you can get those 4 dead within a few seconds of each other and everyone is in the death screen, the job is fairly simple. The Optic one I want to talk about a little bit because there's a little bit more nuance to that second run, right? They get the first flag on the board, but the second one you just felt the timing wasn't perfect on the kills. There was always a few players kind of lurking alive who you saw in the feed kind of popping up a little bit. And even though Optic felt like they had numbers, forcing that one home against a team like SSG, if you go down inside of your flag and you don't get that flag captured, all of a sudden a counter cap becomes a real possibility. So that's why you're seeing Optic just take that second, that extra little pause to turn around, make sure a couple of extra kills are secured, to make not just the path home a clear one, to cap the flag, which is, of course, step one, but also make sure they're in a position to not allow SSG to answer back immediately.
Right, and you not even, exactly, like you said, you don't even want to worry about just the kills. You want to know that once that flag goes in, you're sitting from your base, you're taking your angles, you're working in twos. If you need to push out a side, you don't want to prevent any opportunity for a team to come in and kind of collapse on your base, just as you say. Also got a shout out. Now, it became a moot point that I wouldn't have mentioned if we didn't have a pause, but Bound's counter to Formal there, jumping up and down repeatedly, top fridge, to then drop courtyard to fly, and then challenge to the shroom stairs. Unbelievably well executed, and so difficult to do against a player like Formal. Now, in the end, it did not lead to a flag stop, but it still just shows you that SSG is putting together some pretty special plays.
Yeah, it's an interesting play to talk about from Bound, right? Because it's like that unpredictability element that he has. It's like Formal sees him, and he's like shoots him a couple of times. It's like,
I think
turns away.
He's like, who's shooting me?
And then he turned around and was like, you gonna carry on doing this? And at this point, like, Formal's half shields. And then Formal's like, all right, fine, I'll go shroom stairs. It's like, how is Bound front base now shooting me? It's like, Bound was just locked on to the importance of that kill of Formal.
He looks like an arcade
in the
game character. Just boop, 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 just bouncing up and down and kind of just being as obnoxious as he can be, the man on your screen in the distance there. Continuing to deal damage in every sort of way from every sort of angle throughout this entire series. Waiting to get back into this one, but unsurprisingly, game one is off to an electric start, just as the entire series has been.
Something to note as well as we take a look at some of the Aquarius stats this season as well. I mean, pretty similar. You would say the efficiency for Optic is terrifying. When you look at they have less steals than SSG, and they pretty much have the same amount of caps. I mean, that's 1 in every 2 flags that starts moving for Optic goes home. That's pretty ridiculous.
Right, and even more than 1 in every 2. It is a, as you say,
thank God you're
wild. It's a wild stat line to be pulling that way and to be executing that way. And I think we saw some of that broken down as you saw Lucid with the patience of that.
You know the best bit about this was?
Tell me.
I tried to work that out without looking at the stat that says cap percentage.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a big bottom stat line that really
I was
helped.
like, wow, that's impressive.
Really helped me out with that.
I just didn't read the whole thing.
With that one.
Oh, man. One day I'll get the numbers thing.
No. I think we just depend on not having to worry about that ever. We let the stats team in the back. By the way, huge shout out to the entire team here at the SSG Major here in Salt Lake City. Across all of production, everyone in the venue staff, the SSG family, everyone who's helped bring this show together. It's been amazing, and of course, we're not done yet. A lot more games to be played and still yet to crown a champion.
One thing to highlight from that first game as well was overshield control. Both went to Optic, and off the back of it, Optic were able to capitalize and get those flag caps on the board. The first one was picked up off the break. You saw that went the way of Optic, but I love the way that actually Formal played with that second overshield. And there's a lot to learn for people who are watching. A lot of the time you see the overshielded player feel like they're invincible, right? They will fly into a base. SSG are playing for that. They're thinking if we can get a couple of beatdowns or playing corners, we can make a trade situation occur in our base and the overshield becomes a little bit moot. But the way that Formal plays it, he kind of just stands there on the stream stairs, looks up, does a little bit of damage, holds his ground. Other players then try and challenge because they're like, the overshield's coming, he's going to run towards us. And he plays his life as if he's playing it without an overshield. Right. And I think a lot can be learned about that. Using an overshield to maximize damage output is more important than just randomly taking space.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's becoming, at this level of Halo Infinite, such a difference maker, right? Is how do you use that overshield specifically? Do you make sure that you're the one doing damage? Are you simply staying alive? Are you making sure you're staying alive, for example, on your high gen for a touch? There's all sorts of different ways to utilize that overshield that isn't simply a brute force mechanic, and you're really seeing that on display here.
you.
Taking a look here at defensive stats from both of these teams across Aquarius as well, specifically throughout the entire season. And really, it's Optic Gaming with fantastic stats once again. 60% of flags being returned that get pulled.
Just over 60%.
Very good from you.
Thank you.
Very good from you.
Column 3. What?
I think it's row 3.
Yeah.
Fantastic stuff.
I don't have Excel installed on my PC for good reasons.
Lucid there, ready to jump back into this game without a doubt. As we said, he was not only 7-4 in that game, but also tied for the most assists across the entire game with 6. So a very, very good opening from him. And he will be eager and anxious to jump back into this one. We also saw him essentially escorting that flag home so well, somehow avoiding the damage, peeking back for additional damage, staying alive to bring the flag home. We'll see if they can continue it here. We just got confirmation as well from League Ops. I don't think it's any surprise, but it will be a 2-1 game to Optic Gaming with 8 minutes in total on the clock.
I love the fact that production and League Ops only talk to you now.
They only tell me that part.
I didn't get that. I cannot. It's got to that point in my career where they're like, this is a complete waste of time to tell me. Which is fair. It's good for everyone. We can move on with things now. So 2-1 will be the score, and as you say, confirmation from that, and we'll get into the game as soon as we can. What's been your favorite moment of the weekend so far?
I mean, this grand final, without a doubt. I think there's been a lot of highlights, but it's hard for me to even think back to any other moment that would stand out over than this grand final. I got to talk with some of the SSG guys just now during the very quick break, and on the staff side, certainly not on the player side, they said it's already been such a special weekend. It'd be nice to get it, but it just feels like the fact that we don't even know how this grand final ends. There could be 7 more games of unbelievable Halo ahead of us, and it still already feels like one of the most memorable grand finals as my vocabulary starts to go in the grand finals reset.
You do the numbers, I'll do the words.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds
Between us, we'll be somewhere
half
near.
of a commentary team. I think as Lottie said, it really just summed it up as well, just the fact that there's been just unbelievable Halo from both sides of the stage. I think everyone here, not only in Salt Lake City, has gotten their money's worth, but I hope everyone tuning in from around the world, we want to give shout out to each of you in chat, wherever you're joining in from, whatever time of night it might be, especially, of course, to everyone here in Europe and the UK joining us for some late night Halo action. As it starts to even get late on the East Coast as well, certainly we're set in for an unforgettable grand final. It's already been wonderful, and to see how this one resolves, I can't wait.
Yeah, I like the fact that we're changing pace between games as well. I love Halo Infinite for that at the moment, and it's a conversation I remember having with Snakebite quite some time as well. It's like so difficult for a team to go from a fast-paced Aquarius CTF then to a Street Slayer, because it's a completely different mental you have to get into, because it's like this, we need to move forward, we need to progress, we have to work on an objective, we have to watch over extensions to, I need to watch this lane.
That's it.
I need to hit my shots. Right. And it's such a test. It really is such a test, Halo Infinite, as a game, when it comes to not just in-game skill, but what you have to adapt and what you have to think about between games, between series, what teams you're playing against as well, how they approach it. It's just, I want to give a huge amount of credit to our players and our teams and some of the best in the world, because so much goes into it, and I wish I could sit here for hours and talk about how highly I think of all of our professional players that are on, get to our main stages, that what you have to put in to lift one of those trophies, because it is just ridiculous. Like, they are so talented. It's nuts.
And you could say it's harder than ever as well, right? I think not only have we always given, I think, proper kind of props and due respect to pro players throughout the entirety of professional Halo, it feels like right now, if you are not putting in 110% effort every night of scrims, every night of VOD review, there's no chance you will lift that trophy. So huge respect, as you say, to every single one of these players on stage. A lot more games, of course, yet to be played. But I think it's even worth noting that within Halo Infinite, if you use that example you use, maybe going from something like an Aqua CTF into a Street Slayer, there's even going to be moments within that Street Slayer that you need to play at breakneck speed for these quick little exchanges and then go back to slowing things down. So you have to be ready for everything.
Yeah, you look at the Recharge Slayer, it's a standoff for most of the game, and then the clock is like, sorry to push you guys, but we got to kind of get this done. So if you could start moving, that would be wonderful. And you have that explosion, which almost turns into these crazy comebacks. So a lot to consider for everyone on our main stage right now. The most important thing is when we get into the game. Hopefully we can get back into it as soon as possible. We apologize to everyone who's waiting to see the games. We want to see them, trust me, just as much as you do.
Also worth noting there, that second flag from Optic Gaming went in right at the 8:49 mark. It was actually essentially 50 seconds or so before that second flag went in for the follow-up flag for SSG. So it really could be called a counter, and you have to wonder, because we were talking about the importance of those counter opportunities, if Optic's going to buckle down and be even more careful with their runs. They will lead 2-1, but there will be a lot of time left on the clock, as we said, 8 minutes to see where this one ends up.
Well, as we patiently wait for the series to get back underway, we do know one thing, and that is that this series is certainly going to be one we talk about for quite some time. It's crazy to think about like how this is actually going to end, right? It just feels like, from what we saw from that first series, that this is just going to be a series that doesn't get decided, that it's just going to keep going. Third best of 7?
Hey, sign me up. I'd be down for it.
Just 1-1?
I think one thing also that just kind of following up on that as well is the fact that for Optic Gaming, how much this means I think we kind of teased it earlier, but in so many aspects of this year, right? As we start to hearing now from League Ops, we're getting right back into the game in just a moment, but how much this means for them. Of course, they want to win this major and they want the momentum into Worlds, right? Those are two factors, but breaking that second place curse that they've had to deal with all season long has to be on the top of their minds. And how will they feel if after this series, not only do they play second again, but they do it from winners and they lose back-to-back series? That would be devastating. That would be a tough, tough fate to take into Worlds. So there are two just vastly different roads for Optic Gaming out of this grand final into World Championships. It is the highest road with the most momentum you can imagine, or potentially the lowest part of the season for them.
Is it redemption or is it continued disappointment?
Yeah.
That's what Optic Gaming have on their shoulders right now, and nobody would know it more than the 4 players that are sat on that main stage right now. We always say, like, one of the most storied organizations, Optic Gaming, one of the most popular, all the fan base, and with that comes a lot more pressure. But good news, everybody. We're back into the game. We apologize for the delay. It's going to be 2-1 in the favor of Optic Gaming. Just before the restart, it was indeed SSG who managed to get their first flag on the board to answer back. But Bound flying into the back of the base already, trying to put the pressure onto Optic.
So impressed with the pressure Bound has been applying all weekend long. That's another example there. He flies in, gets some very good damage on TriPPPeY, the spawner, and also is able to trade with Lucid in the end. TriPPPeY, though, they hold. They were 3 dead, so it's a very good hold from Optic Gaming off of the opening rush.
TriPPPeY's going to have to hold up multiple players, though. They're flying in here. SSG, they're trying to get that flag moving. The rest of Optic looked like they were trying to overextend out on that P side, but look, from the outline that you can see from Eco as he picks up the kill on the base, the rest of his teammates are taking care of things on the pink side, and that flag is moving.
Devastating here from Eco. It's a very clean battle. Lqgend about to go from high gen. Now the flag should go. The pillars will provide the cover, and the flag will go in. We're tied 2-2 here. SSG scores within 65 seconds.
SSG's response has been absolutely phenomenal from this restart. Tied up at 2-2. Remember, they were 2-0 down just a few moments ago. 6 minutes 40 left on this game clock as well. And with the speed and the efficiency of these flag pools, it feels like every time it starts to move, it ends up going home for both of these teams. Formal going to find one as that first pick, though. Lqgend now trying to turn it into a more equal number game. But finds himself having to chase Formal down. That will do it. 2 versus 2 on the map at the moment. Lqgend is furthest forward for SSG, but he's been spotted out.
Flag going to be pulled as well. 2 players trapped in the low gen. The pressure comes in right away from TriPPPeY. They need to get this one. They need to get these kills clean. It's a good forced trade that comes in there for the side of StelluR. In the end, the flag will go back. 3 dead for Optic Gaming.
Finally, SSG can break out of their base. It's Bound, who does not ever need to be asked twice about holding forward and getting up the map. So, I mean, not quite there for him. Look how those shots coming in from Lucid, by the way. That was not an easy fight. You felt like he was on the back foot for most of it, but somehow came out with a kill.
In the end, the kills are traded out so fast. It's amazing to watch this level of play. Formal grabs the overshield. We'll see what he can do, but it feels like anytime damage goes down on the map, those kills are at least traded out. And that tells you the intentionality and the fantastic execution coming out of both of these teams.
Oh, Formal, that's a big, big 5-shot. Perfect shots coming in from him, and now he turns it into a double. He's got Lqgend in front of him as well. Formal is hungry for triples, and he'll find it. The flag is moving for Optic, and it's all down to Formal.
That's what you want Formal doing, getting triples in the back of the base while that flag is already being run by Deadzone here.
Incredible individual play. Bound is going to try and slide out front base, but Formal's not going to fall for it this time, and Optic Gaming, they will get that flag on the board. Now they're up by 1. It's 3-2.
Such an important answer back from Optic Gaming. I think as everyone saw that second flag go in for SSG, the question was not only how will Optic look on the map, but how will they feel momentum and energy-wise. And Formal stepping up in a big way. It's a killing spree. 3 dead there for SSG.
Formal still alive in your base is a problem. He finds 2, a little bit of help from TriPPPeY, and with 4 dead, Formal chooses to run it towards Lucid on the pink side. And Lucid will find that kill onto the respawner of StelluR. This is another opportunity here for Optic.
That's essentially 6 straight kills there. They haven't even been taken down. There's been no counter from SSG. It's still 2 dead. This flag will go.
Optic will put this one home. And Optic will be 1 flag away from taking the first game in our reset.
What a response here from Optic Gaming. They found themselves essentially receiving end of 2 back-to-back flag caps across the reset, but right away they wake up, they get right back into the game, and now leading 4-2, 1 flag away from taking game number 1.
I mean, we like to be self-deprecating sometimes and talk about how ridiculous the term Perfect Halo is. However, Formal is kind of playing Perfect Halo, and he gets the kill onto Lqgend, even when he had no right to.
From the grave, ceiling bounce from the courtyard. Formal ending that entire spree with style. Beautiful stuff from him in the reset. He's 7-5.
Well, SSG have been under the cosh for the last few minutes, and now, finally, they've got something to celebrate. It's StelluR who has an overshield, and Optic are trapped in the back of their base. And even though they have a 2-flag advantage... Oh no!
On paper, it's a ninja. You might debate whether it was or not, but most importantly, TriPPPeY gets the back whack on StelluR on the flag. It's an absolutely huge route from him to shut down the SSG pull.
It's not just that, he kills one player on the flag just beforehand, and I think StelluR just expected that kill to at least be traded out. It wasn't. And then before he knows it, StelluR is walking forward to fight another player in the back of the base, and TriPPPeY is just presented with an opportunity to neutralize that overshield with the back smack, and now Lqgend is finding out how a back smack feels himself.
Deadzone double kill. He sits in the gen corner. Sneaky, sneaky gen corner. He's not done yet. Finally, Eco will take him down as it's 3 players stacking on the SSG side here.
Optic fans starting to pipe up a little bit as well. Trying to get behind their team, trying to refocus them, remotivate them. In this second best of 7, I mean, this game in itself is crazy. Has a double kill and a beatdown is going to go down to TriPPPeY.
Immediately countered by a break the wall chant coming in from this SSG wall of noise here. Their hometown crowd getting very loud. 2:25 left on the clock.
3 dead for Optic Gaming. StelluR, this time with no overshield, but a very similar position to what we saw him in a few moments ago. The clock may be starting to become somewhat of a factor here for SSG as well as we approach the 2-minute mark in this game. 2 players from Optic trapped on the gen, but great damage output means that StelluR will fall as well. And SSG have to reset once more.
We do have to say it would be very SSG if they were to somehow find a way to close this out, but with less than 2 minutes left, as you say, it is going to be a very difficult task ahead of them.
Overshield coming up as well. Deadzone will be taken down. StelluR now trying to move forward to get a touch on this flag. An individual fight is going to be won, and they get the touch. Optic Gaming are 3 dead. And Lucid is the only player who is on the map right now, even though the flag is the way. As he runs past it, he's going to get the return himself. Lqgend finds a kill on the respawner, and with 1 minute and 30 seconds left in this game, we have a 1-flag game.
Lqgend gets the next kill as well. It's still 3 dead, 4 dead for Optic Gaming. Deadzone's your first spawner.
He's going to come off spawn, and they're going to look to double cap here. StelluR now turns his attention from running the flag to slaying Optic Gaming members. The flag is moving. It's back at the base. It's back-to-back for SSG. And we're tied up at 4-4.
We said it would be a very SSG thing to do to cap within 2 minutes. They cap within 45 seconds, and both flags go in. Unbelievable. We're tied 4-4 with 1 minute left.
And what have Optic got in response? It's been an absolute whirlwind of the last 40 seconds or so that they've been trapped in. And Optic with 2 dead and 1 coming off of the respawn might be in danger of a few seconds ago being 2 up and losing this game.
I cannot believe my eyes. Some of the best Halo we've seen played all weekend in the last 3 minutes, from Spacestation Gaming to back-to-back counter cap with 7 consecutive slays to bring those flags home. Next flag wins.
Are we going to go to overtime here? Not for the first time in this series. Lqgend wants to end it here. He wants to end it now. The return will come in, but he's going to sneak past. 1v1 in the back of the base. A little bit of help coming in for Optic. Lqgend recognizes it, tries to play his life elsewhere. Eco's going to find one, doubles back, can't get the kill, but Optic have lost 2.
Was good damage. Can they convert? That's the question. You look at the stack here. Optic Gaming now trying to push out high gen. They're going to push out front.
Should deal with Eco pretty handily here, and the timer will tick down, and we are going into overtime. Wow, this series, man.
Going into sudden death overtime, these 2 teams in the reset are tied up 53 slays apiece and 4 flags on the board. They could not be any closer. Next flag will win in sudden death overtime.
In overtime, that overshield can be everything. If you win this opening fight, if you get that overshield, you might be able to just win that game. Optic are 2 dead, and StelluR has that overshield.
2 will fall for Optic. 2-man advantage. Here comes the push from StelluR.
He's going to be hoping it doesn't go the same way as it did before. 2 players in the back of the base. He's going to try and leave him there. He's going to force this. He's got the help from top middle. StelluR's away. StelluR sliding. And from 2 flags down, TriPPPeY's the only player alive. SSG rising like a phoenix on this game. And they will claim #1.
Oh my God. This place is going nuts. And for good reason. How about StelluR with the overshield? Starts to engage one player, starts to engage the second player, and pulls out the front of the base. He gets out of dodge and he says, see you later. The rest of the SSG team comes in. They clean up the job. He goes for a gen run as the team continues slaying. Let's take a look at some highlights.
Absolutely breathtaking. The final moments of that game. Optic fans and Optic players have got to be absolutely crushed by what they've just had to watch happen. They were 4-2 up with 2 minutes left in the game. SSG go back-to-back with the flag caps within 40 seconds. It goes to overtime. And then they lose the opening battle, they lose the overshield, and they lose the game. It's heartbreaking to watch from one side, but from the other side, it is absolutely inspirational. I mean, the people who are watching are part of it.
Moments ago, we were talking about the spree from Formal. They were up 4-2. He's getting stylish kills from the grave. We thought this one was over. TriPPPeY's getting back wax on the flag, on the overshield. But at the 130 mark, that first flag goes in. Now keep an eye on this replay as well for when that second flag gets in. This is the speed. Look, it's 111 on the clock. It's a 29-second difference between those caps. It's absolutely insane from Spacestation Gaming.
And that's what it means. That's what it means to the SSG fans. Overtime belonged to StelluR. The overshield.
What a run, what a run.
The run. The recognition of what had to happen.
Yeah.
And another example of SSG making the perfect decisions under the biggest pressure.
Especially because Optic tried to sit in the very back of their base. They didn't fight from the flag. They sat all the way back, hoping to hit the team shot on the flag carrier who was about to maybe pull. Instead, StelluR says, not interested. Here's some damage. I'm leaving. When you're in the back of the base, there's no prayer that you're getting over to those angles. You're going to get flushed out immediately in the end. It is Spacestation Gaming closing out game number 1 in overtime, 5-4.
StelluR also probably recognized he has the help from top middle. There's a couple of players from SSG who are probably saying, pull front, we've got you, we can cover this. We can get you away and get you back home with that flag. We move on. We go into game number 2 now, and we are back talking about Slayers. There's the records of both teams. 4 losses on either side, but SSG with significantly more wins. The big thing that jumps out to me, though, is when you're looking at the difference, when Optic win, they win big. And if they can win here, and if they can win big, then all of a sudden, the series feels a little bit more equal again.
And speaking of winning big, let's go back to when these two teams played this game type. It's one of the only game types they've already played against each other this weekend in the winner's bracket. Street Slayer was not just big for Optic Gaming, it was a 50-36 Game 5 win to send SSG to the elimination bracket. And of course, that's how it would be written, that that's our game number 2.
Of course it would. Yeah, forgive me, everybody, for just taking a few seconds here to catch our breaths, but game number 1 of our bracket reset, absolutely electric Halo. That's a great example of why these players are the best in the world, why these teams are the best in the world, because this is what you have to do to win a game. You have to be exceptional.
You really do. Unbelievable. By the way, we should mention as well, unsurprisingly, Optic was outslaying so heavily for the majority of that game. There was actually a point where I believe it was a 9-kill advantage in terms of the slays. At the very last second, Spacestation will outslay across that reset, 60-54. And that's just the reset. That does not include the first 3 flags on the board. So SSG with fantastic, I mean, fantastic actually doesn't do it justice. The late game composure, I will admit, when I said it would be very SSG of them to cap 2 flags within 2 minutes.
You were just saying it to be nice.
No, I mean, we know that's possible, but let's be honest, the likelihood of that, I don't think anyone would have bet on that taking place. SSG does us one better. Within 45 seconds, they put both flags in, and there's still 70 seconds left on the clock for them to play with. It was the most clinical set of play that we maybe have seen all weekend long, packed into 45 seconds of play from SSG. They do it again in sudden death overtime, and they take the lead. And it's crazy that's only game number 1 of the reset.
I mean, I'm thinking about what Optic are going through right now. They go into that. They've just had the bracket reset on them. Heartbreaking. Last second play. 1 second, the difference between an oddball round.
Yeah.
we go into a new series. There's a little bit of a break. They can have a talk. They can have a reset. Think about what's to come. They know how important it is to get off to a good start, just to reset the mentals a little bit, just to make sure they're all on the same page and believe that they can get into this series. They're 4-2 up, and they lose the game with 2 minutes or so left on the clock. Right. I mean, what's going through your head right now?
Also, I mean, let's not forget, right? Up 2-1 in the last series as well, right? There's a lot to think about. Up, you know, and specifically where my mind goes is actually to the man you just saw on your screen, Eco. Because guess what he said during their post-game interview at the end of the day last night? He said that Optic series, we shouldn't have lost it. We probably should have won it. So the confidence that they had that when they matched up with them again, that they would not only push them to their limit, but in their opinion, beat this Optic Gaming team, that is showing here in the Grand Finals.
Well, Street Slayer is going to be our next game type. It gives us an opportunity just to talk about this a little bit, right? We've just seen the carnage of Aquarius CTF. We've seen overtime, we've seen back-to-back flags, we've seen everything you could possibly wish to see from a game of Aquarius capture the flag. I'm very interested to see what the pace of this game is. I'm very interested to see if SSG try and ride this momentum and play a little bit more aggressive to punish Optic Gaming and really make them hurt. Or if Optic, and the way they like to approach these game types and the way that they've had success before, is going to bring them that same success the last time these two teams matched on it. Or have SSG gone away and looked at that, how they can get better? Because
they would have.
Of course they would. It's again, the fact that we've had this map before and it's been such a significant win for Optic, you know SSG have gone away and looked at what they can do better.
Without a doubt, especially because it took place, right? SSG would have looked at the entire Grand Finals and the Grand Finals reset game types, and they would have honed in on these. Keep in mind, after a tournament evening, you have limited hours with each other, whether it's in the hotel room, whether you're out together, you have limited hours to talk over specific game types, and they would have honed in, as you say, on these specific game types, and they'll now be ready for whatever happened to them. Keep in mind, a blowout victory for Optic Gaming in Game 5, Street Slayer 50-36. SSG had a lot to look at and a lot to think about. On the side of Optic Gaming, though, we talked about how do they bounce back mentally. I think that's where they need to focus. Not just because it's Game 2 and you reset, but remember just what they did, how they dismantled SSG on this game type to already knock them out once to the elimination bracket. They need to lean on that. I think build confidence from that.
Knowing that you've got that cushion and knowing you've done it before is certainly something that Optic can look at and hope that they can recreate here. And recreate it they will need to do if they want to answer back, as they find themselves down 1-0 after one of the craziest games of Aquarius capture the flag you will ever see. Street Slayer. It's been a long series. Is where we find ourselves going next here in SLC. We're back into our grand finals. We're back into our reset, and we are in to game number 2.
Cannot wait to get underway here just to see how these teams go at each other at the throat. SSG versus Optic Gaming. SSG leads in game number 1 here. Can they go up 2-0, or will Optic repeat on Street Slayer and bounce back? Looks like neither just yet. I'm still hearing shots though, and StelluR's still playing.
Maybe
that was bound.
I think we have to cast the game from the reflection of their faces.
Okay, right now he's probably Pink Street.
Okay, here we go. We're back into the game, everyone. No harm done. Only the 1 kill on the board. It's going to be Optic Gaming who do get out to the first kill. Camo's going to be up bottom middle. And it looks like Optic might be able to get away with it, or maybe Lucid is just looking for shadows, and he is chasing shadows at the moment.
Ooh, look at this, look at
StelluR
this.
who sneaks away.
Decides to shoot there from plants. In the end, does not get punished. He somehow gets out in the end, but what a low-scoring opening, by the way. 3 kills registered in the first minute of play.
StelluR still has the camo, most importantly here, and he's spotting out where Optic Gaming are going to be spawning. So StelluR has a chance to just sneak in and not be seen. Maybe play for information, maybe play for damage.
Ooh.
Camo disappears at just the wrong time. He's going to be pushed, he's going to be flooded out, and Optic set the trap, but has he created enough of a distraction here for the rest of SSG to move in?
Clock strikes midnight at just the wrong time there. 3 will fall though. Formal's your last player alive, and in the end they capitalize on the damage and on the information that came from the camo driveway push. Off of your opening, Spacestation will lead 6-2.
Sometimes, like we just saw from the point of view of StelluR, it's not just about getting the kills, it's about getting the information, creating the diversion for the rest of your teammates to capitalize on that damage. And SSG do exactly that. 6-2 the lead now.
Really low scoring here. We're 2 minutes in, only 8 kills registered. That tells you just how much is on the line here, how much respect is being shown as Bound hits a nice perfect with the red gun.
Not an easy angle. Tees another one up. And we'll come away with 2. Camo coming up as well at the perfect time for SSG as they can play off the back of Bound's damage.
Bound still dealing damage. Retires and he's not done. They cannot take him down. Somehow he's still alive. They lead 9-4. Let's get into a listen-in with Spacestation Gaming.
Yeah, on Shoddy. Someone get back to A tower. Shoddy and C. Someone get back to A tower. On disruptor. Once B stairs, once you're going driveway, I'm looking heaven. I'm looking heaven. You don't have help. In red room, Kevin. You don't have help. Can I go help Bound, guys?
There you go.
Top C. There's a guy in red room, 100%. Go and help Bound. Stay close. Yo, 3 left. Driveway. Yo, watch out B stairs. Ice cream, watch ice cream. Watch ice cream. Watch top C. Hey, be real, Legend. Last 2 B guys. Oh, yeah, B stairs.
ATM.
One shot Bound. I'm trash, Kevin. I'm trash. Shoddy. Jumper. Yeah, pull shields. Kill me, absolutely. It's going back trash. One's up front. Yeah, we should go A tower. We should get. There's a guy going back tower right now.
B stairs now.
He's going back tower right now.
Steps up,
2 B stairs, guys. We gotta run this.
Steps and trash. They're all B side. No, 3 guys B side, sorry. 3 guys.
Spawn C. Let's go purple.
Bottom.
Let's come back.
I'm fighting, but I'm
Yeah, sure. You guys up.
Weak vision.
I'm pushing cafe. I'm gonna walk through this.
Look at vision. Just still be there. One is back tower, Zane.
back tower, back PD weak.
Watch out back PD. Weak back PD.
Watch out behind me. Good.
Nice.
Laundry start.
Watch out laundry. Looking for one. It could be an arcade. You want to clear arcade or no?
Yeah, probably arcade, 100%.
Well, let me check PD.
Ivy, two spawn Ivy.
Check PD.
Don't see anyone arcade.
Ivy. Hey, red room.
Come on, guys, come out and do rift shot.
Look for it. It's...
No.
Yeah, right. B stairs. 2 left side. 3. I think there's 3 left side, guys. I'm watching arcade.
Okay, two arcade.
I'm heaven. Arcade really stock. Arcade really stock.
Two there.
Spikes, one shot.
Watch out.
Big spikes. I can keep you live. Let's
Benches.
On shoddy. Come on. Last guy shoddy.
ATM.
Get out.
Top tower, weak top tower.
Yo, don't let him cross. Going trash. Yo, shoddy. 2 guys shoddy.
2 guys on shady weak. 2 guys weak.
Yeah, camo, right?
No, I killed him.
Oh, okay, good call.
I'm just sitting here.
Look at the score. Look at the score. Cafe weak.
Top tower trying to
Okay, I have a repulse. I have you bound.
Cafe. We can walk at this cafe. You just suck at it.
No, we don't.
SSG established a dominant lead in this game, number 2 now. And Andy, there was a lot that you wanted to take away from not just the listening, but the gameplay that we've seen in the last few moments as well.
Yeah, I love the comms coming in from the SSG side without a doubt. One thing you might have noticed, though, there was a moment where Bound and a teammate spawned back A. Now, instead of challenging everyone around the courtyard, they actually go to Neons. They go to top Pink Street. From an awkward angle, they keep each other alive with the Shroud, and then they retake A on their own. Really non-traditional and probably frustrating approaches to that setup coming in from the SSG side. Optic Gaming is feeling it. They're down 23-14.
Optic have got to find a foothold in this game, and you feel like the next opportunity to get a power-up is going to be the one that presents itself. Lucid and TriPPPeY, though, maybe they'll find a way forward themselves, and all of a sudden SSG are trying to scarper away. The last player is going to be StelluR. He'll have his shields broken, and you would imagine in a few seconds should be another kill added to the collection. He does indeed fall. So Optic with a fantastic push now find themselves in a position where that gap doesn't quite feel as big.
As you say, 6 kills and 6 minutes left on the clock. A lot of time for Optic to find a way through, but they need to make that happen now. We're at the midway point here, 25 on the board for Spacestation.
He's going to slide out bottom middle, that's going to be Lqgend, and it felt like Optic just a little bit disjointed in what they wanted to do there. Did they want to go up the map quickly? Deadzone was staying back in tram, maybe trying to block the spawns, but it ended up with everybody getting isolated by the respawners of SSG, and look at this damage coming in from Lqgend.
What do you even do? Look at Lqgend just holding it down for Bound. We talked about this duo all evening long, just absolutely holding down the sidelines for Bound to come flying in. The Bash brothers, they now lead 30-19. Oh, God! Hits them with the ninja as well.
3 dead for Optic, and that one hurt. StelluR finds the final kill onto Deadzone, and now we are starting to look at Spacestation Gaming with a kind of lead that might become insurmountable pretty soon. This red gun in the hands of Lqgend, by the way, is absolutely ridiculous.
Actually, might be
missed.
Might be illegal in the state of Utah. Luckily, we don't have too much law enforcement present in the building. Otherwise, that could be a lot of trouble here in terms of legality. 37-21, and the damage continues for the side of SSG. Bound is 15, 6, and 7.
Well, let's remember, it was Optic Gaming who were doing this to SSG the last time that they met up on this game type. SSG have gone away. They've watched the VODs. They've put in the work, and now they're saying to Optic, you've got to try and come up with something new.
Just doesn't back down. He's just challenging everyone. His ability to challenge multiple targets in between the battles he's already in is unbelievable. 3 dead, though, for SSG. And the trade comes in there in the end for StelluR and Formal, bringing us now to 40-27. Now, is this possible for the side of Optic Gaming? Yes, but it will need to be consecutive, perfect plays coming out of them.
Found peeking through the smokes. Formal going to find one, but TriPPPeY's going to be there to follow up as well. Deadzone will be taken down. It's a double kill for Lqgend. Just playing off the damage. He's looking for 3 here, and he's going to hit the 5! You knew he was going to hit the 5!
Somebody stop this man. Finally, he's taken down on the commando, but not before dealing an outrageous amount of damage, not only in the game, but also on the scoreboard. Less than 4 minutes of play, but more importantly, less than 6 kills to go for SSG.
Bound just trying to bait out this player on the B stairs as well. Get some damage down. Should be able to follow up and add another kill. TriPPPeY will escape for now, but Bound knows that he can chase. Unfortunately, doesn't check both ways when he crosses the road, and TriPPPeY will escape.
In the end, Bound will escape as well. So you're just seeing absolute games of cat and mouse. Uses the Geo to avoid the grenade on the B stairs as well, very nicely. And it's still an 11-kill game. Formal, though, with the camo in hand.
It's been spied out! Formal's been spied out! SSG with the camo eyes. I'm not sure who it is. It was Bound who saw him, and now it's going to be Eco who follows up. So the one thing for Optic that goes their way in the last few moments just gets evaporated.
The comms would have been amazing there from SSG because they knew they flushed Formal out of the L, and the players on trash. Go ahead and look at him. 4 kills to go for SSG.
(17-9) is Bound. Eco, he adds another one. Positive 1 for him at the moment. And it's positive 2 in the series for SSG. They are up 2-0. And my word, does it look like SLC might belong to them if they carry on like this.
50-38 is your final score. It is a complete inverse of what happened when these two teams met on that game type yesterday. Optic winning 50-36. A very, very close score in the end in this rendition of that game type. However, it goes the entire opposite way. Spacestation will close out game number 2. And as you say, there's no doubt that they went into the VODs, they looked at that gameplay, and came in with a completely different strategy to close it out.
Absolutely incredible from SSG to turn that kind of game type around. And yeah, we know Slayers, they can sometimes flip one way or the other, but it did feel like they just knew exactly how they wanted to play. Those moments there, for me, it tells me 2 things. 1, great play from Bound. 2, Optic Gaming look a little bit desperate in those situations. They're trying to find any way back into the game. They're trying to find any kill, overextending a little bit to try and take the camo player out, and it cost them. And in the final moments there, Eco will combine with a teammate to get that final kill. SSG up by 2 now for Optic. Now they are staring down the barrel. This is not looking good for them.
Bound in the end in that game goes 18-10 with 9 assists. Just 1 assist shy from leading the entire game in that category as well. And as you said, Optic Gaming, Lucid on your screen, the entire team with a lot to think about here. Taking a look at the series layout. Spacestation Gaming only 2 away from closing out your grand finals reset.
Well, I hate to be the continual bearer of bad news for Optic fans, but Strongholds is the next game type. And SSG's record is pretty damn good on it. Certainly does favor them, and at 3-0, that would be more than an alarm bell starting to ring for Optic Gaming. It would be a real worry for them, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about on your screen. 6-0 here in Salt Lake City. They are yet to lose this game type. And the margin's over 100.
It is, I mean, look, we do need to focus on this. Not only is the 6-0, as you said, a concerning thing for Optic Gaming, the margin is absurd. That is not a statistical error or a graphic error. An over 100-point margin to a -17 margin for Optic Gaming. This game type has historically, as you see, and here as well, belonged to Spacestation. And you get the feeling that Optic needs this game on the board to stay alive. Otherwise, they have to reverse sweep a best of 7 4 games straight. They will need to throw the stats out the window and dig deep here.
Well, here is the stats of the dynamic duo, the unlikely couple. It feels like
Lqgend.
Lqgend. The KD's very similar. The kills per minute for Bound, outstanding when it comes to strongholds, and the damage per minute for both, outstanding. You can see who the front man is here for Spacestation Gaming. That damage output per minute is something that they are so reliant on to have success. Everybody else can play off of it, and if Bound is doing his job, that's why the stats for a player like Lqgend will match and look just as good.
You know what I love too is not only are these two teammates, of course, also roommates, but when we're in the listen-ins, you'll hear Bound just, Lqgend, come here. Lqgend, do this. Lqgend, do that.
Do you reckon he calls him Lqgend at home?
Yes. I'm 100% sure he calls him Lqgend at home. Without a doubt.
Lqgend, come to the
We've
shop.
seen the behind-the-scenes documentaries.
Lqgend, we're going to the bar.
Lqgend, we're going to McDonald's. Lqgend, go to bed. I have no doubt you hear it in the listen-ins. I have microphones actually scattered throughout the apartment, so I have a lot of listen-in opportunities. But not kidding, in the listen-ins, it's amazing to hear, and you'll hear it from Eco as well. Just they're directing Lqgend and exactly where they need him on the map. Lqgend will provide comms of what he's seeing, what he's getting. But Bound, as you see, Bound is playing this game so fast, and he's always one step ahead of most of the lobby, that he knows exactly where he wants Lqgend. Lqgend loves to be able to be IGL'd like that, and man, has it ever paid off for them in this grand final. They're looking so strong.
Looking strong, but I just got a strange feeling there's a twist in this series. I don't know what it is. It's just there has to be something more to this series, and there has to be something that comes from the Optic side to give a sign of life. It's very easy to look at a series as like 2-0, this one could be over. But if it's 2-1,
right,
and you look at that series, it feels so doable to turn a series on its head.
It just happened, right? Optic was leading 2-1, and we already know where we are now. Absolutely possible if Optic Gaming can get this game on the board.
Well, let's see if Optic can answer back. Let's see if there's still some juice in the tank from the green wall. But they're going to have to overcome one of the best teams at Strongholds, the undefeated team here in Salt Lake City on Strongholds in SSG.
So much riding here for the side of Optic Gaming, and you have to wonder, do they have not only the endurance and the stamina, but the heart and the fight to think about their entire season so far and how much that has weighed on them? Repeated back-to-back second places. Never taking home the title this year. Can they dig deep as TriPPPeY wins the opening battle?
Something as simple as an opening break being won for you can just help. Lqgend last alive and even helps Optic Gaming out himself by nading himself. B is going to be flipped. Optic will score early here. It's just something to give them a little bit of confidence, and a win like that from Lucid also will.
Nice win indeed. Lucid making sure to just challenge that bat angle in the end. If you take a look at the POV here, Bound will be the one on your screen. Just trying to reset, but really good bat ledge hold coming in. Look at that from TriPPPeY as well. Just nice pipes control continually from the side of Optic Gaming, already up 22-0.
Let's think of the few moments that happened already in this game. You see the individual battle bottom middle for the camo being won by TriPPPeY. Yes, it gets traded out. Then you see Lucid with the 1v1 win. All of these things added on top of the opening break going the way of Optic Gaming, and the scoring will be something that just lifts the spirits. It just gets them going. It just gets the belief back. And with 40 points already on the board, and we've seen the triple cap being flirted with as well, Optic will all of a sudden be locked back in for this series.
It is just as you say, they needed something to grab hold of, something to give them the hope in this series. They found it across the opening. They already crossed the 50-point mark uncontested.
Wow. And then Bound comes and does that to you. Deadzone will fall. And Spacestation will flip A here and will start to begin scoring for the first time in this game. 53 points without response. It was a strong start from Optic.
Amazing prioritization specifically of the bat ledge here. Finally, Bound's gonna maybe get away with the shock, but I may have spoken too soon. Look at the pressure that's coming in from Optic Gaming. TriPPPeY's gonna close it out. Optic Gaming has been staring at the bat ledge and batteries this entire game, and it's been great prioritization as they continue it. 4 dead here for SSG.
Big moment for Optic Gaming, and one thing I really want to talk about here, I feel like Strongholds is forcing Optic just to up the pace a little bit here. As soon as they're getting damaged, they're moving across the map. They're trying to collapse, and off of the back of it, they have this triple cap, they have this lead, and TriPPPeY has that next camo. Won't be able to do too much with it, But as now we flip over to the point of view of Lucid, you can see that the power is starting to stack for them.
It's a really good job from Eco to bait that out from Sneaky. He forces the camo to be traded out and doesn't even get taken down himself. It's a very, very good strategic and tactical play coming in from Eco and a play call from all of SSG. However, through all of that, Lqgend picks up another one. In the end, they might start to trip. B will be flipped, so it will be an AC hold likely in just a moment. That is going to be coming in, but it's already 91-23 in favor of Optic.
Oh, Formal, that is big. It's a triple kill for him. Eco last alive. A little respawner going to come in to help him out, but that kind of play, not only does it help secure B, but it just keeps the scoring from getting out of hand and the momentum starting to stack up on the side of SSG again. Every time it feels like SSG maybe are going to have the chance to get something going, Optic is shutting it down at the moment.
Optic scoring once again with BC. Lqgend, look, once again, he can't move. It's been amazing how they've been focusing these team shots around B. As A will start to flip, B will be traded out for A. And still, Optic Gaming will be scoring here now with an AC hold. It's a great response from Optic.
And here comes the push. Here comes the aggression from Optic. They know that they're going to be spawning them in and around the pipes. They know what the kills that they've gotten, where Last Alive is, that they can start to collapse. So Formal steps forward, takes that fight, wins it, and keeps SSG on the back foot. Optic are posing them some questions here, and it's exactly what they needed to do.
Let's not forget, though, the last time that we saw Strongholds played between these two teams, it was Optic Gaming leading 150-0. We've been here before. Optic Gaming has been here before. They know the game is far from over.
Formal trying to slide across the mid-bridge here and cut the map, but not going to be able to. And SSG, now with 2 in the death screen and a triple cap of their own, are probably thinking about deja vu, because this is almost the exact same situation as we saw earlier.
Bound does not pop. It looks like maybe even intentionally does not pop. Wanted to get to safety, maybe keep the camo in play. However, 2v2 on the map. Very good response from Optic.
Formal's going to capture B as well. Deadzone is inside of C, so that should be the triple cap stifled, unless the reset comes in. And yes, indeed, StelluR with the timing just to flood through the tower and keep it in their control. TriPPPeY will finally take him down, but those seconds that have now been taken away will mean that SSG continue to score. Eco last alive, though, and Optic will be able to flip A.
Where did that camo go? Might have staged C stairs. Not sure if anybody was able to grab it just yet. Might have despawned, actually. Eco taken down as well.
Formal 11-6 in this game at the moment with a sharp rifle. He's starting to hit some heads as well, and this is good news for Optic. If Formal starts to find the form we found a little bit earlier,
I think Eco
remembers where it was.
Okay. Eco had been starting to pick up camo. He got brained. I had a feeling Eco was picking up camo at the C stairs. He gets brained before he's picked up, so Bound actually now grapples it and can make a play here.
Bound will go in, and Bound will find one as well. Still has the camo to play with. Optic Gaming now find themselves 2 dead, and the shock rifle will be out of their hands as well. SSG will flip to A. They will have an AC hold as Bound continues his little run.
Just when you thought Optic Gaming was pulling away and Formal was heating up with the shock, somehow they keep that camo alive in one of the most delayed camo grabs we've seen all year.
Bound almost managed to turn 2 there. You felt like things were starting to go his way. TriPPPeY waiting for the flank to come in. I don't know if he knows there's someone behind him. He's going to find out right now. Lqgend is going to be that player. It looked like he was aware that something wasn't quite right in that situation.
You could absolutely tell by his movement, by the way he was moving around the map, that he knew something was present in the end. 2 will fall for Optic here.
SSG with the BC hold. Lqgend now going back to defend and create some angles to help out these players and his teammates who may be having to play around B to defend that themselves. Catches TriPPPeY. And we'll deal with him very, very comfortably.
Look at the score.
Great awareness coming in from the Frenchman. Lucid going to be next for him. He'll challenge, he'll beat him down. He gets the trade, and all of a sudden, that 100-point lead that we were talking about has disappeared. Optic inside of B. Formal going to be challenged by Bound. Won't get the reset, but the camo goes over to Optic.
2v2, Deadzone with camo. What does he do here? Likely going to finish. And then after, contested by Lqgend.
Lqgend with the nades. A little bit of help comes in. Deadzone will get the conversion of B. Now he has to avoid the grenades that are going to be coming his way from elsewhere. Spacestation find themselves 2 dead. And finally, Optic will just calm things down a little bit here. A and B will be their hold. Fight going down inside of A, and surprise, surprise, Lqgend's going to win it. Deadzone, he's got some work to do, but it's pretty light work for the player.
So well done from Deadzone. Can you believe the trigger discipline with the camo? The way he moves around the batteries, he doesn't challenge StelluR on stacks, and only because of that can he then swing to A to clean up the damage. It was looking dicey for Optic at the 145 mark, but they once again here now lead by a sizable margin.
StelluR will find one onto Formal to create a little bit of space. And now you're seeing the big push coming in from SSG, and it's not just a big push here over at A. You can see B is being flipped as well. They don't quite get the conversion, and Optic will reset B as well, but inside of A now, StelluR should be able to turn this in the favor of SSG, but look at C. It's Optic out-rotating SSG.
StelluR doing everything he can. He was the last player alive. He wins that 1v1 in the back, otherwise this would have been even more dangerous for SSG. He holds down, they will flip B now, and they start scoring it again.
StelluR with a shock. TriPPPeY's in front of him, TriPPPeY's below him. TriPPPeY singed and dealt with, but manages to get that trade. Optic still 2 dead though.
Big trade coming in for Trip. It leads to 2 dead here for SSG. The shots from Eco, and immediately starts screen watching this guy, making it look way too easy.
Easy to screen watch when you know there's only 1 player alive on the other side. You're not going to be taking too many battles yourself. And SSG now just a few points away from going into a lead. We've seen this before from SSG. Even if they're down in a game, they will find a way to rally back, and they will go into a lead.
This would be devastating here. You couldn't write a better story, though. In the end, TriPPPeY trades with the camo off of a great counter coming in. 2 dead for Optic, and you thought for a second that that was Optic's ticket back in. But the camo is neutralized, and SSG will keep scoring. They cross the 200-point mark.
StelluR now on the hunt as well. Numbers favor Optic, but only for a few moments. StelluR's going to chase. Deadzone will survive though. And Deadzone inside. A B here with a beautiful, beautiful, and such a vital nade. Should be in a position to help Optic get B. TriPPPeY now in a 1v1 himself. He'll lose that in and around B, but elsewhere you can see on your screen, Eco, he's going to flip C. B is going to go to Spacestation as well, and there is a triple cap almost.
Oh boy.
And it is now in effect for SSG.
I don't even know how much time we're going to have to talk about this unless Optic Gaming gets some serious aggression on the board and some very important kills in this 2v2.
Eco going to be flanking behind the player at A. The 1v1 at the bottom of the elevator, TriPPPeY will be taken down! Optic will flip B, but Eco with that kill should be able to control elevator.
They needed that trade. They at least needed that trade here.
He knows
as A starts to flip.
Lucid's going to challenge. This is a massive moment. If Lucid hits this, he'll get the reset. SSG, though, they will slide in and they will get the conversion of A. They will continue to score.
Lqgend getting the timing there on A, just in case the trade came in. He was ready, and he's even dealing a ton of damage over here. Deadzone flying in to try to help the cause if he can. C will flip now, but its Spacestation is already on B.
And it's Eco who's just dodging and diving around these pillars.
Whoa.
Challenge comes in. He's dealt with. A and B still the hold. Look at this from Eco, just peeking. As StelluR looks over his shoulder with his shock rifle, they're now 10 points away.
Oh boy, Formal gets taken care of as well now, just 5 points away.
SSG closing in on a 3-0 series lead. Lucid, the last hope for Optic. He'll be dealt with, and SSG are 1 game away from being your champions.
What a comeback and what a statement from SSG. I think I was nervous even saying it, but with Optic with a 100-point lead in Strongholds, it felt like familiar territory, and I think everyone in the building and at home now knows exactly what we mean. Spacestation icing up with unbelievable control from their side of the stage to steal the win out from underneath Optic Gaming.
I think the chant is 1 more map. Maybe 1 more game. My headset is very loud. But either way, both are true at this point. And for Optic, it's a very similar story to what we've seen in a few games now. They get out to a good start. They look like they have an advantage, but it's SSG who just seem to, when they get control, know how to roll with it a little bit better. They make it hurt even more. They punish Optic Gaming for what feels like 20, 30 seconds more that gives them these leads. And I've got to say, Lqgend, playing in and around the back of blue, his awareness of the timing of when to expect a player, the communication obviously coming in from teammates as well will help. But big moments in the end of this game certainly favored SSG. But there's one moment I need to focus on, and it's TriPPPeY with that camo. Yep. TriPPPeY with the camo. When the game is essentially tied up, he only manages to trade in the turbine.
Yeah.
That kind of play, that kind of moment you look back on and it's like, you need to make more. If you can get out of that with 2 kills, Optic, they have a huge opportunity for a triple cap, a huge opportunity to maybe turn the game in their favor, but you got to give credit on the other side as well. SSG spot him out, they make the trade.
Absolutely. In the end there, geez, look at the scoreboard now. And you're starting to remember what SSG looked like in Atlanta. I think that had been slightly forgotten after their winner's bracket match against this same team. And we were not hearing murmurs of that conversation anymore throughout Saturday evening into today. No one was expecting the same SSG to come out, or maybe an even hotter SSG to come out. But now with them leading 3-0 and 1 game away from a historic Grand Finals reset, I think we're all starting to remember, oh yeah, this team did look that good in Atlanta. And they're looking that good yet again. Optic Gaming, in order to win this championship, will need to full reverse sweep 4 games straight.
So for SSG, it's a chance at 3 major championships for the season. If they win this next game, it's a chance to go back-to-back in the season as well. And with Halo's World Championships just around the corner as well, there is no doubt that if they can close out here on the main stage at their own event, that they would be the favorites going into Seattle.
And with that now happening a second time for the side of Optic Gaming, they got to be thinking, what else do we need to do? Huge opening starts that look so good, but it feels like when you're playing to 250 points, at the end, Spacestation finds a way. They use that time. They take all the time that they have to mount the comeback, and more importantly, the control to close out Stronghold games time and time again. They stay undefeated in the game type this weekend, and we now head to a King of the Hill Solitude, which could be your final game of the tournament.
It's been an epic so far, this Grand Finals. And in this reset, in front of their hometown crowd, Spacestation now find themselves just 1 game away. Is there another twist here? Will Optic keep us going? Or will we be crowning our champion? Let's watch a little bit of Eco and see how he starts his game.
Underway here in map number 4. And Optic Gaming knows what's ahead of them because they've also played Spacestation in this exact game type this weekend, and SSG took it 2-0 in the end. Can they do it again to close out the tournament?
Well, not a good start here for Optic, a great start for SSG, and a great start for Eco as well. Formal last alive, as he will just sit in this hill and soak it up.
Great pre-nades as well as shots onto driveway as well. You've also got Bound with camo. It's a picture-perfect start here from SSG.
Come in. Bound finds 1. Manages to survive for just 1. Oh my god!
This is what I'm talking about. The guy can be in 3 separate battles at the time that it takes 1 person to engage. He is immediately checking every call out on the map, and Lqgend cleans up the damage.
Everybody on SSG right now is winning their fights. Everyone in SSG is playing at their highest level. And it just feels for Optic that somebody has to find another gear at this point. 2/3 of this hill already going their way. As Lqgend just adds another kill to his collection.
Lqgend 3-1 here. Several players on the side of SSG have only been taken down once as they look to close out this hill. Essentially no progress for Optic Gaming. And SSG still with a man advantage and still scoring.
In the Optic are going to give this one up, and it looks like that's exactly what they're going to do. It's going to be SSG who get this first hill on the board. Or are they just going to try and apply a little bit of pressure here? Make them wait for it? The answer is no. They will go up by 1-0 as we move our way to our second hill.
3 dead here, 4 dead for SSG, so maybe an opportunity here for Optic Gaming to breathe, to find a foothold at least in this game type to get them back in. They will start to score. All 4 players are up for SSG, and they will now formulate their push.
Optic trying to find a foothold. 2 kills go their way, but on the other side of things, 2 kills go the other way. Lqgend with another individual win, this time on the back of BR. Second camo in the game will go to SSG as well. Everything seems to be lining up for them at the moment.
2 dead yet again here, and they will get the 3rd kill. Bound with the camo again. It feels like we're watching the same loop of gameplay over and over in terms of power-up control as well as slaying. SSG leading by 3 in the kills category.
Bound still behind enemy lines as well. You can see everyone is trapped on the snipe side for Optic, and that is not a good sign with the hill. He's over the other side of the map here. Halfway. SSG to going up by 2. Bound is just killing spawners. They have to deal with him, and he's even doing damage onto a second with half shields.
That's the thing about Bound. it's hard enough to kill him, but it's also impossible to stop him from dealing the extra damage. StelluR just walks forward into Cafe and picks up a beautiful kill as well. 3 dead for SSG. It's a momentary 2v1 for Optic Gaming.
I mean, Optic will win the race, essentially, to this hill from Blue as Bound collects the shock rifle. But they still have to take him down. They still have to be wary that he can just rip some heads. Oh, sweet Christmas.
Speaking of ripping heads, that's what he came to do here today. 2v2 on the map, only a tick needed for SSG. Here it is.
It's another example of when Optic feel like they're doing everything right. They win the fight, they win the battle, they win the race, and then Bound just absolutely destroys you. There's nothing you can do when SSG are playing like this. It's 2-0.
If you wanted an indicator once again of just how well SSG is playing, they only won this game 2-0 in total the first time they played this against Optic, and now with still 3:20 left on the clock, they are already leading 2-0, and they are showing no signs of slowing.
Eco sits in this hill. Bound's going to be pushing forward. Bound's confidence at the moment is something to behold. Willing to take any fight, willing to take any challenge. As the attention now turns to the camo. Former's going to find a pick. 2 dead here for SSG and Optic with a few numbers on their side.
Eco, by the way, often the strategic mastermind of the team. This time he's also the slaying leader at 10 and 6. Lucid just gets absolutely eagle-eyed by the entire roster of SSG, and it's not the first time we've seen a camo or a power-up shut down by Spacestation Gaming.
Just incredible, incredible. The communication must have been there. They absolutely rip him out the skies with that camo. And it's not just one player who spots it out. Everyone on SSG turns their attention to him. Almost halfway to capping this 3rd hill. SSG gets a little bit dicey for a few moments. As for what I was about to say, feels like the first time in a while SSG have to fight with even numbers on the map.
Lqgend here wrapping around as they look for the S2 angle. Still hotel and cafe presence as you see on your screen. We should mention here, still 2:35 left in the game, and even though SSG is dominating in just about every category, there is time on the clock for Optic to find a way back in here. Look at the hotel push. The perfect 2v1. In the end, Deadzone manages to trade, which is pretty impressive in that scenario, but SSG scoring yet again.
Yeah, we'll take that if you're Deadzone. Those shots coming in from Formal. Challenging Lqgend, winning it. Trades are not good for Optic, though. You can see the numbers are starting to stack up. Formal finally steps inside of that hill, and it will be 2 dead on the side of Spacestation Gaming. Gets a little bit of info on where Bound is as well. Lqgend coming off the respawn to try and get alongside his teammate and roommate. And is this the moment for Optic? Can they find something? Formal now last alive, and it just feels like everything's going against them.
The pressure there from Lqgend all the way from S2 the entire time to just keep dinging Formal long enough until Eco makes the bottom mid push. Just so impressive, as you say. Trades come in there, Deadzone's going to be happy to get out with that, but 3rd time in a row, Bound with the camo. It is perfect power-up control. Maybe not a perfect back whack, but still perfect power-up control from him. Look at that. Doesn't even worry about it. Focuses elsewhere. Knows that he's invisible. And now chooses the new target.
This is still being invisible really well.
Look at this.
Oh, he gets a second opportunity. A second bite of the cherry. He turns 2. He knows he's done damage as well. And even though he whiffed a back smack a few moments ago, he makes up for it.
I love how he whiffs the back smack. He says, I'll get back to you later. I've got other things to worry about on the map. I'll be back with you in just a moment. Thank you for your patience. They will continue scoring.
It's another one for Bound. 2 players from SSG trying to flush these players out from Optic. Bound's going to challenge inside the hill. Optic will be 2 dead. Lqgend looking to clean up Lucid in and around the hotel. Only 1 minute and 20 seconds left in this game for Space Station to close things out.
And over the last 2 minutes, keep in mind, no hill has been put on the board. Actually, 2 minutes plus of game time and much more elapsed total play time. They're going to start to play clock a little bit here as well. 1:06 left on the clock, still 2-0.
Looks like SSG want this 3rd hill. They want to really put a dagger into Optic Gaming. They really want to make a statement here. Formal trying to challenge. Lucid will find 2. But Lucid with no shields will fall as well. Deadzone is the last alive. SSG will be up 3-0, and even Eco is getting loud on that main stage.
SSG don't want to just win this tournament. They want blood, and the entire SSG fan base here wants blood as well. 50 seconds left, and it's going to be insurmountable. 3-0 lead in game number 4.
You're looking across the stats. We've been talking about Bound, StelluR, Lqgend, but it's the IGL, the captain. Eco, 17 and 11. in a bracket reset game to potentially win this tournament. Optic Gaming will know. It will be, most likely, another second place for them, another podium finish, with more work to do. But here in Salt Lake City, there's only one team that's going to be talked about, and that is the hometown team.
You know what's about to happen? This place is about to get loud. These people came here to see one thing, and we're now just 10 or so seconds away from that moment.
Double kill for StelluR, thrust away from Lucid, but with Deadzone the last alive, and with Bound stepping out this hill, it's 4 seconds until we can finally say that Spacestation Gaming will be your SLC HCS Major Champions. They reset the bracket, and they do it in front of their home crowd.
Over 20 years of professional Halo Grand Finals we've watched, and this Grand Final is a historic one. SSG back-to-backs from Atlanta to Salt Lake City, and they do it in the most difficult fashion possible.
Make some noise, SLC, for your champions, for your hometown team. Spacestation Gaming, the trophy belongs to you.
Salt Lake City, the back-to-back champions, Spacestation Gaming! Wow! What a tournament that was! Make some noise for Eco!